Welcome to the Inner Oracle Energy Update. So I'm just feeling to go live with this today because there's just so much moving and so much of it feels so strong, no? And because since 2020, a lot of us have been experiencing a homecoming as a physical experience, a more and more physicalized homecoming, by which I mean the field of harmonic resonance, for resting in the physical plane of consciousness and experiencing the physical universe as having all of its gateways to source opening up, has catalyzed within those of us working in this way a process which can oscillate us between resting in the field of grace and the body resting in a vibratory state of remembering itself as one, in a state of oneness, one within, one with all that is, one within the physical universe. And as I say, oscillating between that state of grace and having to face the homecoming process of all the dissonance that's been collected and that's arisen in our long histories that we carry in our DNA, that we've inherited from our familial genetics, that we carry from past lives and other incarnations, incomplete stories that we've lived and vibrated as, and that have vibrated as true for us, which carry the meaning that to be physical is to be separate somehow from divinity, is to be separate somehow from oneness, is to carry that paradigm of duality and division within. So there's a lovely phrase, spiritual bypassing, and it's, oh gosh, it triggers me a little bit when I hear that, but there's a beautiful way of moving beyond spiritual bypassing when we recognize the field of grace, or if you like, the field of harmonic resonance, where we become aware that not just the body, but our entire experience of physical reality, being a body within a plane of physical reality, has within this experience, which is a dimension of the self, the many multi-dimensions of the self, has within it the potential for us to open the gateway home to source and re-experience ourselves physically in a vibratory state of oneness. Now, this is not a mental construct. It's not an idea of itself. It's not something we think ourselves into, although we can use our minds to redirect our attention, to redirect our focus, to remind us that, hey, this homecoming, this idea of coming home to oneness, of shifting from 3D to 5D, of moving from from old earth to new earth, or old paradigm to new paradigm, or let's throw in another phrase, shall we, from duality to non-duality, was something that we were just going to do on the inner planes of consciousness. And it's not so, is it? You know, because for so many of us since 2020, our physical realities are showing up as in a state of non-separation, as literally more and more, I want to say psychotropic, more and more clearly and more immediately reflections of what's going on with of our inner process. And it's less and less easy to kind of maintain that tension in us of keeping our physical reality separate as something that is exempt almost from our oneness awareness and our inner work and our inner work processes. So with all of that said, that's the kind of context for the energy update for today. And I just really want to speak to the sense of this spring being a launch pad for us, just accelerating in the direction of manifesting the impossible dream, or the dream from our impossible futures. Now, I'm deliberately using that kind of oxymoronic sort of, is it an impossible future? Well, no, it's a future that maybe we've held to be impossible until now. This spring, there's been this beautiful emphasis on the run up to the equinox of manifesting from beyond the limits of our imagination, the big dream. I mean, the really big dream. And not the hopelessly big dream, the hopefully big dream. The one that seems bigger and vaster and more opulent or more beautiful or more expanded than anything we might have given ourselves permission to dream before, and yet still has that quality of feeling anchored. When we, for example, imagine ourselves just closing the eyes for a moment, coming to the heart, feeling the feet, feeling the body and that gravity of where we're sat or stood or reclining right now. And then extending awareness to kind of take in our energy field around us and open up to the energetic forms, shapes, the energetic landscape of a manifest future. So we can imagine around us the house we might be in, the physical environment, the landscape, the nature of the earth and the terrain that we might be finding ourselves in, if we let go of all our limitations and dreamed the impossible dream, and yet allowed the body to really rest in that, to feel a sense of dropping anchor from through the feet into the earth, so the feet are breathing with the earth while we're here with this beautiful impossible dream. And if you like, you can drop your grounding cord right down from the root, right into the heart of the planet, just for a moment. That attention, that part of us is connected energetically or magnetically, if you like, to the very center of the earth. You know, we don't fall off it, do we? Because I can't resist that image of flying off into space. We're anchored, we're grounded into this planet. And we're allowed to dream the impossible dream right now. And we're allowed to not know exactly what it looks like, to let those energy shapes form around us as though we are kind of discovering what we would dream if we really let go of the limits of our own imagination or our own constructs, our own past. For all of us, there's a dream of the future that comes from the liminal, that comes from beyond what we've known to date. And just pausing for a moment, letting go now, in the spaciousness between one breath and the next, one moment or one heartbeat and the next, and falling in, all the way in to ourselves. No reason. Just to float here for a moment outside time in this arena of spaciousness in the self. Letting go. Floating and feeling held. Allowing the breath that comes as though it's coming from beyond the universe. It's coming from the infinity of love itself, breathing us into being anew in this moment. Bringing with it all of the resources from the all that is to make manifest this impossible dream, which is actually a possible dream. It's more than a possible dream, it's a definite dream. Weaving our manifest futures into our fields of consciousness now. Grounded, tangible, touchable dreams. How do we want to be living? What do we want to be working on? Even if we don't know consciously, we know here in the heart. So we can let our unconscious knowing take the wheel, take the reins of our wild horses, that fuel, that force that's going to drive us forward in life this year. We can surrender and say, yes, I allow myself to be taken in the direction of my definite dream. The one I'm only just discovering for myself, the one I might not fully know about even. I'm going to say yes right now. And you can feel some of the old just fall away as though it's cobwebs blowing off in the wind. Allow that not knowingness that's the perfect cauldron for expansion. Expansion beyond the land we already know. Pioneering, manifesting, creating in a new earth requires qualities and skills that we don't yet know we have. Requires visioning that can't come from our past. And yet, it comes from our connection to the infinity within. The part of us that remembers vastness, that knows that we are the co-creators, the manifestors, the dreamers, the map makers, the navigators, the architects of our reality, owning what we're architecturing, sorry about that word, in our own reality. And by owning what we're creating in our own reality, we become part of that whole reality, like a healthy cell functioning within the organism of the body, which is functioning within the organism of the planet, which is creating from a place of listening and allowing structures to form and emerge in response to that lovely resonance that comes from being present for the essence of beingness. Knowing that our structures will emerge from that place of connectedness, that if we want to realign how we're moving forward into action, then honoring the divine pause and falling inwards into beingness directly connects us to the sacred signature blueprint of the truth of who we are, that mandala being woven by the breath from the infinity of the all of this, moment to moment, through us, the lens of infinite consciousness focused here and now as an individual charged with the task of exploring and creating, responding and feeding back to the all that is the findings of its own experience, its own subjective experience, and at the same time realizing we are both an individuation and part of the fabric of the whole. And not abandoning that sense of individuation, nor abandoning that sense of I am one within the all that is. But being all of it, for being human is more and more about becoming or coming online and recognizing that we are all of it. We are this little focused human lens of experience and responses, relating and perceiving, choosing and creating. And we are also all of the multi-dimensions of the self that bring this lens of one consciousness focused into the here and now present. There is this lovely emphasis on the joy of creating, allowing joy to be a compass A compass that dissolves some of the fears and the doubts and the uncertainties and that I don't know which way to go. When that joy comes and it brings with it clarity and direction and focus, allowing that, saying yes, giving full permission to joy. And just lastly, a very powerful, almost urgent emphasis. I don't like bringing through too much of urgency, but there is an urgency now to saying yes, to aligning fully all parts of ourselves, all systems online with the direction we want to go in, not even want to, the direction we have chosen to go in. This spring is like a launch pad. We're about to accelerate. And if there's parts of us that are not facing the way we're traveling, we're going to have physical problems around that, yes? Or physicalize or physically manifest. Friction, distortion, all sorts of kind of problems around that. So there's something about owning the fact that when we're about to face the way we really want to go and take off and accelerate over the horizon or into the sunset, parts of us are going to be terrified and facing a way like this, yes? No, I don't want to do this. No, I'm not ready. I can't do it. Now that fear, it's so beautiful and it comes from our past experience, doesn't it? So it's not wrong. It's not wrong that we're not all of our parts are kind of facing forward going, yes, okay, I'm ready to accelerate over the horizon. Those parts that are turning away have good, beautiful, valid reasons for turning away. And this is where we go beyond spiritual bypassing. We don't ignore those. We don't just pretend that there are parts of us not facing forward, ready to manifest our futures. We love these parts. We go and fetch them and find them. We call in grace. We meet them with loving compassion. We say, I understand you. I'm so sorry. Of course you would be afraid. Of course you would be hurting. Of course you would expect failure or bad things to happen to you if you dared to move in the direction of your dreams. Because of course it's happened, hasn't it? And we say to those parts, like the loving parent listening to the child, I'm here. I hear you. Tell me. Tell me what hurts, beloved. Tell me how you are right now. I will hear your fear. Because we are the field, the listening field. We're not the stories of our past. We don't ignore them. We listen as a field of consciousness, of unconditionally loving, compassionate consciousness, like the parent scooping up the frightened child or the crying child in its arms. That child is incoherent, it's blubbing and sobbing, and we can't understand a word it's saying. But what do? You listen. You just, yes, oh yes, no, of course. Oh, that's terrible. What else, love? What else? And then eventually, however long it takes, sometimes it takes a long time, but eventually that child will stop crying. That child will stop crying. It will have forgotten what it was crying about, because where is it? It's in the arms of the compassionate, loving parent. It's actually safe right now. Its body is safe, its heart is safe, it's heard, and off it goes to play. Now that's what the launch pad of this march is. It's that moment where, after doing so much of that inner work, it's time to go off and play. Now, that doesn't mean there won't be tendrils of pain to revisit, to re-encompass, to re-embrace, but the emphasis is to say yes to that magical child within us that's ready to go and go off and play. Trust that joy, trust that direction, and make that intention to bring all of the parts of ourselves, even the frightened ones, especially the frightened ones, bring all of those parts of ourselves into right alignment, facing forward, so that with the power, with our the power of love that comes from the truth of who we are, all of the dimensions of the self are pointing in the same direction, energized to just say, yes. Yes, I'm moving forward now into the future that's for me, whether I know what that is or not. So let's just see if there's anything else. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Hello, love. Oh, good to see you, Sandy. Nice that you're here. Thank you. All right, so there feels like there's something else. Let's just, yeah. It feels like support. Beloved, call on grace. It is not a time for inner processing, but it is a time for introducing for calling for support, help, to know grace as it comes to you from other people, from all of life, from unexpected places, places where you might have learned to, rather than expect grace, expect the opposite. Call for help and support, for it is not the help and support of rescue. It is the help and support that comes from naturally breathing together, from your natural and effortless interconnectivity, no? You are not breathing in isolation. You are experiencing yourselves as human beings that are part of a fabric of unity consciousness. What does that mean? When you're living your daily lives, it means you breathe together. You allow the fluid flow of give and take, support, given and received, not as a not as an office or a charge, but just as a naturalness. You are deepening, you are reconnecting and deepening your experience of breathing together as trees in a forest, with leaves all breathing the same oxygen and exchanging energy between each other. Your leaves intermingling, your branches intermingling, that you stand with your trunk fully rooted in your place, in your presence. And yet your branches are extending wide and discovering that it's safe to be the vastness of who you are. And there's still, and you can still move and breathe with the wind and with the elements. There's still enough of all of everything to be with all the other trees also expanding, their branches extending and experiencing that sensation of being, there being physical space for all of you to expand into the vastness of who you are. Not taking one from the other. There's space for all of you. Nobody has to dream small right now. There are resources for all of you. You are fully held, supported, nourished, nurtured. And you can root down even deeper into your place of presence. Receiving the support that comes from the earth below you, receiving the support that comes from the sun above, drawing in the masculine and the feminine, that beautiful dance of harmony where they blend so that it becomes impossible to tell one from the other, such as the unity of force and flow in you. This has been a gift to us to bring through some words for you today, and we are delighted to have had the pleasure and the beauty of sitting in your presence, feeling your fields, seeing the light each of you are. And we would just like to leave you with that image. You, the signature blueprint, the heart of who you are, manifest here in the material planes, being humanly the most brilliant, brightest, extraordinarily, stunningly radiant lights that you really are. Allowing the light you are to shine without limit. into the manifest plane of the realities you're co-creating together as the masters, remembering this is what you came here for. It is awe-inspiring to be a witness on the, shall we say, the inner planes, if you like, for you. To be seeing you from the dimensions where we see you. Because we see you clearly as that light. This is what we speak to, call to, and reflect to you. This is why we come through it all. We just want you to see the beauty in you that's unmissable, that's as clearer than daylight to us. Thank you so much. We hope you have a beautiful day going forward, and we look forward to our next connection. So much love, so much joy, and here is to the grace. And each of you rooting now, grounding now, and holding yourself steady in beingness, in your earthedness, so that your forwardness is fully aligned. We cannot wait to see what together you create in this world becoming new. Go, Team Gaia. But this is what we call you. And with that, there's this lovely burst of love, just with their waving and parting. I've never heard us called that before, but there you go, Team Gaia. I've heard it's called Ground Crew, but I've not heard it's called Team Gaia before. I think that was our Pleiadian friends. Yes, it was. Wonderful. Oof. Oh, hello, love. Oh, that's spot on, isn't it? Yesterday, I was contemplating all day how to shine in all situations without losing it. Yeah, tell me about it. I hope we can all manage. Yeah, go you. Yeah. And I just get, when you say that, I just get the words letting go. It's letting go, so you can let go of managing, let go of figuring it out, know that actually all that managing and strain was keeping us from dropping into something that's naturally there. It's a bit like when the light bulb's on, it's on. And I'm hearing these words for you. There's nothing more for you to do. Let it go, love. Let it go. Be you. Be you as fully as you are. You already are. More radiant than you could wish to imagine. And we see you. So just know that you are. You already are. Oh, it's lovely. I can almost see them waving when they're saying that. Like, bye. Oh, that's so sweet. So very sweet. Thank you, guys. That was really nice just to drop in. I haven't done energy updates for a while, but it felt like today was a day. I mean, there's a lot of strong stories happening for people. I've got a lot going on with my body, and I just received help from the lovely Jiva Ann, who reminded me that if I drop in fully and own and claim, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm for, this is the vehicle that's driving me forward. A lot of the physical dissonance I've been experiencing recently in my body gets to kind of ground earth, go home, and really complete that healing process that it's so trying to do. Like, my body is really trying to heal, and there's been this kind of in the wayness. And for me, that's been about owning and claiming, really, and naming. Owning, claiming, and naming. I am here for this. I'm going to do this, and I will rest. Not just I'm here for this, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to drop into this. I'm going to let who I am, what I'm for, and what I'm going to do be the vehicle that carries me forward. So, I thought I'd share what was coming through Have a gorgeous day, and thank you for being there. Yeah, go Team Gaia. Love that. Thanks, Pleiadians. Bye for now.